Britain's beverage history is littered with forgotten fizz, faded wines, and nostalgic flavors that once defined an era. Many of these drinks were staples of childhoods, pub nights, and weekend treats, only to vanish quietly as tastes, marketing trends, and supermarket culture shifted. This video revisits 18 British drinks that completely disappeared from shelves and memories. Alpine Pop was the quintessential local fizzy drink, often delivered by small, family-run bottlers to doorsteps across Britain. It came in bright glass bottles that promised flavorful refreshment, but relied heavily on regional distribution networks. The drink's range of fruit flavors and its affordability made it a household staple in the late 60s and early 70s. Yet, as supermarkets grew in dominance, local delivery models quickly crumbled. National brands with bigger budgets and more shelf space replaced Alpine Pop's charm with polished consistency. Sport Cola emerged in the mid-1980s as an attempt to ride the cola craze dominated by Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It branded itself as a high-energy alternative, but without a clear identity or taste advantage. The flavor was weak, the sweetness artificial, and the fizz short-lived. Without strong advertising support or distribution power, it never gained traction beyond a few regional test markets. Consumers quickly dismissed it as yet another forgettable imitation. Originally an American brand, Squirt tried to carve out a niche in the UK market as a zesty lemon fizz drink. Imported by hopeful distributors, it offered a sharper citrus edge than Sprite or 7-Up, but suffered from a medicinal taste. British consumers found it confusingly bitter and oddly artificial. Despite a few advertising pushes, its flavor failed to translate to local preferences. Sales were poor, and stock quickly stagnated on supermarket shelves. The experiment ended within 2 years, with little fanfare. Tab Cola, Coca-Cola's first diet drink, launched in the UK as a low-calorie alternative before diet branding was fashionable. Its metallic taste and pink branding appealed to a niche audience, particularly women in the 1970s. Despite steady sales for a time, its flavor divided opinions and never rivaled the flagship Coke. When Diet Coke launched in 1982 with a cleaner taste and modern marketing, Tab was rendered instantly obsolete. Coca-Cola phased it out quietly, ensuring Diet Coke would become the dominant Diet Cola globally. By the mid-1980s, it had vanished from British shelves entirely. Those who remember it often recall it as an acquired taste that belonged to its decade. Better known for milk, Unigate once tried to branch out into fizzy drinks, using its milk float delivery system to reach homes. The drinks came in standard glass bottles with bright, simple labels, orange, lemon, and cola among them. Despite clever branding and an existing delivery network, the taste didn't live up to the image. Consumers found them flat, overly sweet, and uninspired compared to established sodas. Supermarkets offered better options at lower prices, making doorstep fizz an odd relic. By the late 1970s, Unigate's experiment had fizzled out. Vimto itself never fully vanished, but its earlier bottled and milk float versions did. Mid-century Vimto had a thicker, fruitier character that later formulas abandoned. Many fans of the original lamented how reformulation diluted its charm. As manufacturing and packaging modernized, the glass bottles and home deliveries disappeared. The concentrate survived, but the nostalgic doorstep Vimto faded. Regional bottlers who gave Vimto its local flavor closed one by one. While the brand endures, the original experience is gone. Virgin Cola was born from Richard Branson's ambition to challenge Coke and Pepsi with a British-made alternative. Its launch was bold, with red branding and rebellious marketing that targeted corporate giants head-on. For a brief period, It gained attention through Virgin's strong retail and airline presence. But taste-wise, it couldn't distinguish itself enough to keep buyers loyal. The global cola market proved ruthless, and Virgin Cola lacked the distribution power to sustain shelf space. By the 2000s, sales had dried up almost entirely. It was officially discontinued in 2009, remembered more for its ambition than its flavor. Quattro was a curious blend of 4 fruit flavors: pineapple, passion fruit, orange, and grapefruit, that gave it a distinctive tropical edge. It was visually striking, with metallic green cans and futuristic branding. For a while, it felt fresh and different, catching the eye of younger drinkers. However, its unusual taste divided opinion. Too tart for some, too sweet for others. As sales dipped, production was quietly stopped, and by the late 1980s, it was gone. An offshoot of the famous chewing gum, Hubba Bubba Soda tried to bottle bubblegum flavor as a drink. The result was an intensely sweet, almost chemical-tasting beverage that fascinated children but horrified adults. Its bright pink hue and cartoon branding made it instantly recognizable. Unfortunately, few people could finish a full can. Despite heavy promotion in the late 1980s, backlash was swift, and stock quickly disappeared. Retailers reported cases going unsold, and the brand quietly pulled the drink. Tizer Ice was a minty, icy twist on the long-standing British soft drink Tizer. It aimed to modernize the brand with a cool identity for the late 1990s generation. However, the mint flavor clashed awkwardly with Tizer's fruity base, confusing regular fans. Sales were weak, and its branding failed to capture the intended edginess. It lingered briefly in multi-packs before vanishing entirely. The experiment revealed how hard it was to reinvent a nostalgic brand without alienating its base. Once the symbol of mass-market keg beer, Watney's Red Barrel dominated pubs during the 1960s. Its consistent but bland taste appealed to breweries more than drinkers. When the real ale movement gained traction in the 1970s, Watney's became the enemy of authenticity. Campaign for Real Ale specifically targeted it as the embodiment of industrialized beer. As cask ales made a comeback, Red Barrel's reputation plummeted. Watney's eventually withdrew it, rebranding and reformulating to little effect. Double Diamond was a working man's pint, smooth, light, and widely advertised. Its jingle, "Double Diamond Works Wonders," became one of the UK's most recognizable slogans. For years, it was synonymous with British pub life. But as beer tastes evolved, its mild profile fell out of favor. The brand tried to modernize, but only diluted its character further. By the late 1980s, sales collapsed, and production slowed to a stop. Whitbread Pale Ale was a modest bottled ale that appealed to traditional drinkers. Its golden label and crisp taste suited a market before the craft beer revolution. Yet, as newer brewers introduced bolder flavors, Whitbread seemed old-fashioned. Its loyal base dwindled, and supermarkets phased it out. Without reinvention or niche appeal, it became obsolete by the mid-1980s. Woodpecker cider was once the sweet, accessible face of British cider. Its light apple taste made it a beginner's choice for young drinkers and casual pub-goers. Throughout the 70s and 80s, it held steady popularity, but gradually lost its edge. As drier, more authentic ciders gained ground, Woodpecker seemed overly sugary and old-fashioned. Attempts at rebranding failed to change perceptions. Baby Cham, the sparkling perry in a dainty bottle, became a post-war sensation. Marketed to women as a glamorous alternative to beer, it defined 1960s social drinking. Its sweet, fizzy profile felt sophisticated at the time, even daring. But changing gender roles and evolving tastes made it seem dated by the 1980s. The brand's image of ladylike indulgence turned kitsch rather than chic. Though revived occasionally as a retro novelty, its dominance never returned. Panda Pops were the childhood drink of a generation. Cheap, colorful, and unapologetically artificial. Sold in corner shops and school tuck shops, they came in fluorescent flavors like bubblegum, cherryade, and cola. Kids loved them, parents tolerated them, but health consciousness and sugar backlash in the 2000s sealed their fate. Cherry B's was a small, bottled, fortified wine, rich, sweet, and unapologetically boozy. It became a party staple in the 1970s, especially among women seeking something lighter than spirits, but stronger than wine. Its deep red hue and syrupy taste gave it a cult appeal. But changing attitudes toward alcohol and the rise of ready-to-drink beverages eroded its audience. By the 1990s, it felt like a relic of another era. Mateus Rosé was once the bottle to bring to dinner parties, squat, green, and proudly Portuguese. Its soft sweetness made it approachable for casual drinkers, fitting perfectly into Britain's growing wine culture. By the mid-1970s, it had become a symbol of sophistication for the middle class. But as wine tastes matured toward drier, more complex varieties, Mateus fell out of fashion. Its bottle design became more kitsch than classy. Though it still exists abroad, its heyday in Britain is long gone. These 18 vanished drinks reveal more than just lost flavors. They chart Britain's changing tastes, cultural shifts, and the rise and fall of distribution and marketing models. Some disappeared quietly, while others collapsed spectacularly under the weight of evolving consumer expectations. Collectively, they remind us that the drinks industry is fast-moving, unforgiving, and shaped as much by social change as by taste. Nostalgia keeps them alive in memory, but the shelves they once occupied are gone forever.